All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Linda. I see that you are early. We are ready for our exciting morning show. We already have TikTok all geared up. I got YouTube now, and we are ready to start. So happy Tuesday. And I have to tell you, the only way that I know what day it is by doing this morning show and looking at my little scheduler, because otherwise I get the mornings or the days all mixed up. And truthfully, I can't, oh my gosh, I sound so much like my grandma when I say this, but I can't believe it's already almost to the end of May. I mean, where did the month go? I have no idea. So we are going to have our show today is going to be all about tattoos. It's Tattoo Tuesday, and I am going to be talking specifically about tattoos and jobs. And okay, I got a lot to talk about it, but first I'm going to take care of some business. First off, I want to talk about that makeup that I got yesterday. Remember the makeup I got yesterday, and I put the hello, Martha. Remember I put the red on my cheeks and it was like all stained on my hands? And I told you yesterday that I was going to do my yellow eyeshadow along with my pink cheeks and my blue lips. Well, let's just say that I decided to hold off on the yellow eyeshadow because I really didn't want to come on just looking like I want to be comfortable when I'm talking to you because, I'm talking to a lot of people. So I wanted to be comfortable. So I decided to do the yellow eyeshadow tomorrow, just in case it didn't work out. Then I put this red, remember the red? This is really red. And I put it on underneath my foundation. Now, mind you that, okay, Laura says, you inspired me and encouraged me to be me. Thank you. You are very welcome. And I will tell you every single day, be yourself and just shine bright. Okay, so I put this on underneath my foundation and I panicked. I got to tell you, because remember yesterday I just put a couple of dots and it was like, wonk. Well, today I'm like, well, if I'm going to put it underneath my foundation, I am going to put more of it on. I had it all over the place. Good morning, Claire. Good morning. Good morning. And it was in my hair and I looked like somebody came up to me and just went wonk and like smacked me on the side of the head. So I started to panic. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So then I just wiped it off just a little bit. Martha says your makeup looks perfect. Thank you so, so much. And so I wiped it off just a little bit, not that much. I put my foundation over the top of it. And then with my sponge, because I blended in with my sponge, I didn't put any more on, but then I just put I kind of went blop, 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 blop. And it's perfect. I really like this red for putting underneath your foundation for that glowing kind of blush look underneath your foundation. So yay for this one. Then I told you I was going to have blue lips. Remember, I am going to experiment and I'm going to do a blue lip. Well, I did it, but let me show you what it looked like, because this will explain why I don't currently have a blue lip. But let me show you really quick here before we move on, because it was interesting. And I have not given up on the whole blue lip thing. I really think a blue lip is beautiful. I just need to find a different shade of blue. So let me show you what this looked like really quick. And boo. Okay, here we go. We're taking a look. So that's me with a blue lip. And I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not great either. And I say that because it's not great. And let's see here. Nyx makes a blue called denim dress. Ooh, I will look into that because I was watching RuPaul the other day because I always watch RuPaul, and one of the judges had on an amazing dark blue lip, and I was like, yeah, I could get down with that. I really like that, and so I am on a mission to find a very good blue lip. Oh, cool. Caroline, that's awesome. Well, I absolutely 100% love and support you. So, yay. And so, no to the blue lip. I just can't do it. Not that shade. Now, and then I'm going to start talking about Tattoo Tuesday. But I want you all to know that it was not, it wasn't the easiest product to work with. You know what? And I'm rather new with makeup, and I don't want to be like, oh, this is great. You know what? It's super easy. I highly suggest it. Unfortunately, it was a little bit difficult for me to use. It's very pigmented. It's very pigmented, and it is extremely, it dyes anything that you touch. So if you're familiar and you're really good with makeup, I say go for it, experiment away. If you're like me and you're kind of a novice, just go into it knowing that it is a little bit more difficult. So far, I really like this. I will continue to use this under my foundation. I'll try the yellow lipstick or the yellow eyelid stuff, and we'll see how that looks tomorrow. So let's get going with our subject for today because we have so much to cover. Claire, I know, yeah, it is also, it didn't go. It was too light. It was too light, and the coverage was too spotty. And Lauren says, maybe use Jeffree Star lipstick in blue also. I'll have to look into that because I know what shade of blue I want. I want it to be like, almost like a cobalt blue, and I think that would be really pretty. Okay, so tattoos and the job. The reason that I thought about doing this subject today is that I thought, I got a comment. I got a comment on YouTube the other day stating that my tattoo was a job killer. And it was a guy, you know, it was an older guy. And he's like, yeah, you just ruined all your chances of ever getting a job. I'm like, dude, read the room. I'm almost ready to retire. And I'm a full-time social media content creator. I already have a job that I don't care. I have no policy about tattoos. So me being the employee of one, I allow all tattoos in the workplace. But that got me to thinking. And sometimes I will do this subject and I'll be like, let's talk about tattoos in the workplace. And it is surprising how much pushback I get that my thinking and my ideology is old-fashioned. And I'm like, it's not a subject that is black or white, all right? This is a very gray area because while we have made huge strides in regards to tattoos and tattoos being accepted in workplaces, it's not across the board, all right? Not all tattoos are created equal. So therefore, that whole statement of this idea, good morning, Jenny, the whole statement of this idea that this is an outdated statement is wrong in itself. So we are doing a deep dive. I'm giving you some information, and we are going to talk about tattoos in the workplace today. If you're out there and you are thinking about getting a tattoo, some ideas about how placement and where to put them and maybe what to get. And then if you're thinking about changing jobs, you know, kind of like giving you idea of what it's like out there. Hello, Brian. All right. So just in case y'all don't know, my world famous tattoo artist, Brian Dell, is on TikTok. And I have already talked to him, and he's going to be joining us live here soon. Once I figure out how to invite a guest, Brian will be a part of our Tattoo Tuesday, and he will be coming on and spreading his wisdom of his tattoo knowledge. All right. So I found an article that talks about tattoos in the workplace statistics, getting inked is getting inked an obstacle. All right. So this is just basically, it gives you statistics. So it's just not me. It's just not my opinion. It's actual statistics. All right. This is like math science. I'm reading it from somebody else. All right. So I thought that this was really interesting. It says approximately 40% of the people aged 18 to 34 have a tattoo. So the majority, that's a pretty big statistic. All right. That's 40%. And you have to think about it like the workforce that is coming, the younger generation that's coming into the workforce is going to have a tattoo. So these companies are almost having to rethink their tattoo policy for the simple fact that they're narrowing down who they can hire. So I thought that that was kind of interesting. It says over 90% of managers say workplaces are less formal regarding tattoos and attire than a decade ago. So it says, okay, over 90% of managers say workplaces are less formal regarding. So basically, 90% of managers are stating that, hello. So basically 90% of the managers in the workforce are saying that, you know what, the workplace is more informal than it used to be. It says only 12% of people with tattoos hide them at work. So there's a whole lot of people out there who are able to have a tattoo and show it. And that I think is really great. Linda says, before I retired, I had tattoos that were covered at work. I was a cook and loads of people working in the catering have tattoos. Absolutely. And more workplaces are allowing it. And I mean, my tattoo journey is 30 years in the making. I have been doing this 28 years in the making. And I've been doing this for a very long time. And I have seen a huge shift in tattoos in the workplace. But we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. It says 76% of people feel visible tattoos hurt an applicant chances for an interview. So even though that the workplace is more casual and that more and more people are showing their tattoos at work, statistically speaking, a lot of people, 76% of the people feel like if they show their tattoo during an interview, it's going to be held against them. I get that question a lot. Like, hey, Lonni, you know what? I'm going for an interview. What should I do? I have tattoos. Should I cover them? And my opinion is just this 100%. If you have a tattoo and you're going for a job interview and it's going to be visible when you're working, I say let it show during your interview. I mean, it would be like you're hiding a secret, and tattoos are not secrets. Now, if your tattoo is on your bum, I don't think you should walk in and drop your pants and show your manager your tattoo. But if you have a tattoo on your arm, you know what? Dress appropriately and show it if it is a tattoo that is visible. Because again, I think that just by going in and trying to hide something that is a part of you, for one thing, it's going to mess up your energy. Because I know myself, if I were to sit there and go for a job interview and I'm like covering all my tattoos, I feel like I would go in a different person. So let your tattoo show, because it's going to show sooner or later, and you might as well just put it right out there. And if they don't want to hire you, you don't want to work there. I mean, you have to look at it. This goes both ways, all right? You are the person going for the job. Do you want to work in an environment that is so stagnant that you have to hide your individuality? I mean, that's a question that you need to ask yourself before you go to the job. Okay, around 86% of people accept tattoos on athletes. So whereas like somebody might not think it is appropriate for their bank teller to have a tattoo, they feel like it is okay for some professional athlete to have a tattoo. I don't know why. It's just the statistic. Okay. Over 40% of people believe tattoos are inappropriate at work. So when polling people, 40%, let's just say out of 100 people, 40% of those people thought that workplace tattoos are inappropriate. And that statistic right there is what leads employers to having their policy of not allowing their employees to have tattoos. So the more younger people coming up into the workforce and more people who are already established who get tattoos is going to change the whole landscape of this. But not only that, but consumers and people who are shopping in these places, the more that they can just be like live and let live, the more that tattoos are going to be acceptable in the workplace. So we just kind of just need to loosen up and let people be themselves. Michelle says, I think they're beautiful. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. And they tell such amazing stories. And they're like beautiful artwork that to me, I love seeing people's tattoos. You know, I might be a little biased, but that's what I believe. Linda says, how does a tattoo affect the way you do your job? Well, Linda, I mean, really, when I was actually working at a corporate job, I was very fortunate because I was able to already be established when I was getting more and more tattoos. When I first got my very first tattoo at 30, I was just getting into real estate, and I was in an industry where, you know, your looks mattered and how you carried yourself mattered. And I covered my tattoo. It was around my ankle. And if I wore a dress, I would put like tape around my ankle. So I had to hide my tattoo. My Valagish said, Lonni, not sure if you remember, but I got my tattoo last week and your advice helped me so much. Yes, I do remember because you were going for your first tattoo and I gave you a whole rundown on things to do. So I'm glad that it helped, and I'm glad you got your first tattoo. So I was a real estate agent, and you know what? Tattoos, when I first got mine, they were still kind of like, people would look at me like I was like in a gang, you know what? Or yeah, me. I mean, I didn't think like I'd like look like that, but people always thought that. And people judged me by my tattoo. So I hid it. And then when I went into my corporate job, there was a strict policy that you weren't allowed to have tattoos in a corporate job doing escrow. So whenever the corporate people would come in, I would have to hide them. And then by the time that I became heavily tattooed, I was already established in my career, and I was able to be like, well, if you want me working for your company, you're going to take me and my tattoos. So there was a natural progression of my career as my tattoo journey grew. Had I not already been established, I don't know how it would have affected me. It very well could have kept me from getting a job. I just don't have that answer. Okay. My tattoo is peeling. Should I let it dry heal or keep it moisturized? Personally, let it moisturize it. Keep it moisturized. It's going to slough off regardless. And you don't need to be going through that agonizing dry healing. I don't understand it. I've talked to Brian about this before. I'm like, why do people dry heal tattoos? And he's like, Lonni, I have no idea. So 100% my opinion is to keep it clean, keep it moisturized. I always know that when my tattoo is peeling, I'll jump in the shower and I wash my tattoo, and it peels off, and it peels off in a very non-hurtful manner. So keep that tattoo moisturized. All right. So back to our statistics. More than 30% of people with higher levels of education have tattoos. And that is something like when I first got tattoos, people always I wouldn't say always, but a lot of people associated people with tattoos as not being highly educated. Whenever I do my little TikToks of like, hey, you know what? Tell me what you do for a living if you have tattoos. And I have so many like doctors and lawyers and firemen and just all sorts of careers that have visible tattoos that, you know what? 10 years ago, they wouldn't have been there. So it does not correlate with your level of education. Love your content. Going for a throat tattoo in 2 weeks. So scared, but excited. I am so excited for you, and I want a neck tattoo. I don't know if I'm doing the throat, but I'm definitely starting with the neck tattoo. Just remember, go in, eat a good breakfast, go in super comfortable, take a blanket, take a pillow. Just make sure that you're very comfortable so you can kind of drop into your comfort zone and just enjoy your tattoo. All right, so tattoo discrimination statistic. Only 4% of people report experiencing discrimination at work because of their tattoos, which I think is awesome. But I mean, I don't know if that's a low number because people are just not reporting it, but at least that was a very low number. But here's the kicker, everybody. And here's really what I want to this one is just a kicker. Take snacks. Yes, Lauren says to take snacks and water. So the first statistic was only 4% of people report experiencing discrimination at work, but that number jumps up when it comes to women. 15% of women report discrimination at work because of tattoos. So unfortunately, there's a huge discrimination with tattoos and gender. I'm telling you that right now. I get told all the time that I'm too old for tattoos. I rarely I don't think I've ever seen a comment like that on a guy's page. If a man my age is showing a tattoo, I've never seen a comment that he's too old to have tattoos. I get this comment all the time. And it really leads me to believe that I'm being discriminated against because of my age and my gender. And not that I'm being discriminated. I mean, I don't know if I don't want to like throw a pity party or something, but I am getting this comment. All right. And so I'm just like, wow, you know what? This isn't cool. And this statistic shows right here that women are more prone to be discriminated against, or, you know, I've had somebody tell me that they were at work and guys come up to them and were like, you know, like lick their finger and try to like wipe off their tattoos or say very inappropriate things to women about their tattoos. So it's just something that, you know, I think the more we talk about it, the more important it is. And we need to realize that this is a thing. And if you're out there, don't pick on women because they have tattoos, and don't pick on women because of their age because they have tattoo. It's not cool and it's not cute. Yep, I'm a mother of 3 40-year-olds and get asked why I keep ruining my body. I'm too old. You know, and that's just the thing. And, you know, we're going to talk about that next week because that just irritates me. But they don't have any other way to put you down but to try to throw the whole age thing. And I 100%, and here's the thing, and I get really upset when I talk about this subject, but you have to realize where these comments are coming from, okay? They're not coming from somebody else who appreciates the art and the beauty of tattoos. They're coming from somebody who doesn't have tattoos. And you either get it or you don't. All right. Now, there is some exceptions where people are like, I don't care for tattoos, but I think they're pretty on somebody else. But 90%, and that's a statistic that I'm making up, but the majority of the comments that we get by that you're too old to have your tattoo, it's from people who don't have tattoos. They don't understand the meaning. They don't understand what it represents, and they don't understand the culture. And it gets to the point where you have to actually look at these people and you have to think to yourself, do I want to fit in with their culture or do I want to fit in with mine? Do I want to be one of them or do I want to be one of me? And I always pick I want to be me. You know, the comments that I get, and I'm going to read some here shortly, are very mean. But I don't let them bother me because I don't want to be one of them. I don't want to be sitting next to them at the party. You know, I want to be at my own table with my own tribe, celebrating our own individuality. So the next time somebody says that to you, you know, just be like, just be like, um, just be like, thank you. You've just confirmed why I don't want to be like you. Or you can look at him and be like, thank you. You just confirmed why I keep getting tattoos. So don't let these comments stop you in any sort of way. All right, so let's see here. So basically the takeaway is that we are at a much better place of where we are in society and for jobs. But that doesn't mean that we are there. That doesn't mean that it. Um, Caroline, I'm not too sure what's going on, but I love you. I didn't get to see all the comments. So that doesn't mean that we're all the way there. All right. It doesn't mean that there's not room for improvement, because you know what? There's always room for improvement. So now let's talk about some companies that have actually made some changes, because as we can sit here and we can be like, talk about all the negativity, there is positivity and there is growth within the tattoo community. Linda says, exactly, these people should mind their own business. You know what? The entire world would be a whole lot better place if we all just let each other be ourselves. That's 100%. At the end of the day, I vote for that. Lauren says, or another one, oh, I didn't ask you for your opinion. Yes. Okay. So one of the comments that I came up with that I actually really liked, and I came up with this one all on my own, but I always say that you can look at somebody and you can be like, you know what? I have a whole lot of tattoos and not one of them says I asked for your opinion. And just say something. And digressing just a little bit, but I really want to make this point. But it is very important when somebody speaks up and says something negative, or when somebody speaks up and says like, makes you feel bad about whatever choice it is that you made. It's really important for you to speak up for yourself. All right. It is really important for you to defend yourself. Now, I'm not telling you to get into a fight, and I'm not telling you to call them names, but I'm saying you can come up with a comment that makes you feel good, like you held up for your own individuality. And that is what is important at the end of the day. All right. So we all have voices. We need to learn how to use them in a non-aggressive way that makes us feel good that we held up for ourselves. So there you go. So come up with a one-liner, come up with a comeback, and just practice it in the mirror. And then that way when somebody said something, you can just be like, bam, there you go. All right. So, yes. Marissa Miller says, I love this. It goes with everything in life. Absolutely. See, the thing is that these topics and these conversations about holding up for our individuality and holding up for our tattoos applies to every aspect of everybody's life. All right. Some people get put down by their fashion. Some people get put down by the way they wear their hair. Some people get put down by their lifestyle. And it applies to all of those. You are allowed to hold up for your individuality, whatever that looks like. All right. So there. All right. Now getting back to our subject. Jobs that now allow tattoos. It has changed a lot. And Disneyland actually allows tattoos now. It doesn't, they no longer require you to cover them up or to not have them. Now, I've always wondered, and I've had people comment on this, that they work for places that you're not allowed to have a tattoo, period. And I'm like, excuse me, but how do they know what's going on underneath your clothing? And I'm always like, no, that can't be a thing. I mean, there has to be like some sort of like something to where they're not allowed to do a body scan. But I mean, maybe that's just an over exaggeration, but I've always wondered that. But Disneyland, according to their cast member handbook, says you can have a tattoo no larger than your extended hand. So you can't have a tattoo. I could not have a tattoo larger than that. All right. So even though that they allow tattoos, I couldn't work at Disneyland because I have full sleeves. So while they have made progress, that still applies that if you want to work for Disneyland and you have a full sleeve, you can't do it because your tattoo is bigger than your hand. So again, I go back to my original saying at the very beginning of this entire subject is that it is, this is not a black or white answer. That's what I'm trying to say. Linda says, I was amazed. I saw a guy working in the bank as a teller with a neck tattoo. That's amazing because banks have been one of the last companies or one of the slower companies getting on the whole tattoo train. So I think that that's amazing. And if I were to go to the bank and see a teller like that, I would probably stop and talk to the manager and tell him thank you, because that's just the kind of person I am. Whenever I'm like, I need to speak to your manager, I'm usually saying that because I want to compliment them on great service or I really appreciate something. I am never that I'm going to complain about anybody kind of thing. Because if I'm in a situation, I usually can handle it very well on my own. All right, so Disneyland, you can have a tattoo, can't be bigger than your hand, and it cannot be on your head, your face, or your neck. So again, it's not a black or white answer. You can have tattoos, but they have a size limit. So again, while Disney has made a great progress, there's still more to go. And then let's see. Oh, there's other stuff I want to talk about. Don't go away. I found the page. All right. So now Starbucks. Starbucks has also, it was a bank in Scotland. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense because banks here in the United States are very slow to get on the tattoo train, unfortunately. Claire says, why don't people mind their own business? I don't know. I think we should start a campaign on how to just get people to mind their own business. Again, I think it would be such a nicer world to live in. All right, so Starbucks. Starbucks has changed their policy and they now allow their baristas, their staff to have tattoos. But there's always seems to be a but. It says tattoos are allowed, but not on your face or your throat. Now, Starbucks had a really interesting verbiage in their employee handbook regarding tattoos, and I want to read to you what that is. It says, treat your tattoos as you treat speech. You cannot swear, make hateful comments, or lewd jokes in the workplace. Neither can your tattoos. All right? So let's repeat this. Thank you, Lonni. So let's repeat this because it is a very valid thing. Treat your tattoos as you treat speech. You cannot swear, make hateful comments, or lewd jokes in the workplace. Neither can your tattoos. So you can have a tattoo. You can go to Starbucks. You can work at Starbucks, you can have a tattoo, but it cannot be offensive, and that is a theme that goes along a lot of different guidelines that I saw for different employers. So while technically you can have a tattoo and work there, you have size restrictions and also too, they can't be offensive. So I'm just like, again, it's not a black or white answer. Tanisha Cole says, I grew long locks, had piercings and tattoos in a law firm in California 15 years ago. Ah, yes. And I absolutely love it when employers give their employees the right to their own self-expression. I think it becomes a better workforce. I think people who are working, who can be comfortable with the way that they're representing themselves, are happier at work and they're more productive. Why companies can't get this, I don't know. Linda says, it seems mad that there are so many rules for the employees, as most of the people who go to Disneyland who are adults have tattoos. Absolutely. And I know that they were trying to sell like this happiest place on earth where, they were selling like the family experience, but the whole family dynamic is changing on a daily basis. So they need to just be like more inclusive to families of all different tattoos and all of that good stuff. So here is a couple of places that don't allow tattoos, and you're going to understand exactly why when I tell you where. Probably the strictest one was Hobby Lobby. I mean, you can have a tattoo, you have to cover it. All right. So apparently they are no longer giving body scans, but Hobby Lobby is so strict on their self-expression policy that you can only have 2 piercings in your ears. I couldn't work there because I have a piercing in my nose. I couldn't work there because I have 3 piercings in my left ear. So not only do they make you cover your tattoos, but they regulate how many piercings you can have and where you can have them. So there are, again, companies out there that are strict that are going to keep you from getting a job if that's where you so choose to work. Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is another one that also requires you to have your tattoos covered. And not only that, there's a little bit more to their policies. I mean, they're very strict on your appearance. If you're a guy, you can't have a beard. If you have a mustache, it has to be a certain way. So there are companies out there that are very strict on their appearance policy. And, while I don't agree with it, I can't fight. It's their company. So you would just, again, have to seek your employment elsewhere. Biskinoff says, I worked as a mall security and had to wear sleeve covers or a jacket. See, that's just, to me, it's just ridiculous. I personally, if I were a shoplifter and I saw somebody walking up to me totally tatted, I'd probably be like, not today. I mean, it just makes you look more worldly. And I guess that's kind of discriminating on myself. It's like, I just couldn't, I can't see that one at all. Let's see here. Marissa says, I get it if you're a Disney character, but other than them, who would, they should allow tattoos. Absolutely. You know what? I think it would be kind of funny if you walked up to Snow White, she had a big old face tattoo, or a big old neck tattoo. I'd be like, yeah, Snow White, you got it going on. But you know what? That's just my thinking. But yes, I absolutely agree. But sooner or later, mark my words, sooner or later, there's going to be a Disney princess who has a tattoo. I guarantee you. And when that Disney princess has a tattoo, they're going to be like, you know what? Now we have to allow tattoos on our characters because this princess has one. Ash says, I work in tech and as a sales rep and my clients love it. Super accepting. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Now here's a story for you. Story time. I worked in a corporate office. I was an escrow officer, a senior escrow officer. Totally, I knew my job. And I had a real estate agent bring me a transaction one time. And she called me. She's like, hey, Lonni, I'm going to send you over a contract, but there's a problem. And I'm like, well, what's the problem? And she's like, the other agent, I know exactly who she is. I'm just not going to call her by name, but we'll call her Jane. She's like, Jane said that you can do the tattoo if you cover your tattoos if her client comes in. And I'm like, excuse me? What was that? I didn't hear you quite right. And she's like, yeah, she doesn't want you to show your tattoos in front of her client. Her client's a little bit elderly and she's afraid that it's going to be inappropriate and she wants you to cover your tattoos. Sure as the day is long, I'm like, yeah, no, you can take your escrow somewhere else. I'm not going to do it. You know what? If I have to hide who I am, I'm not the right escrow officer for you. Lo and behold, they gave me the deal. The little lady came in. It was like during the winter. And I'm like, I'm taking my sweater off. I am going to show my tattoos whether I am cold or not. Took off my sweater, went in, sat down, helped the little lady with her paperwork. She was very sweet. She loved me, complained about her agent. So yes, there is still discrimination today. I even found it in my job. I was just in this position where I could just be like, take your jobs, take your business somewhere else. But unfortunately, not everybody has that luxury. And sometimes people, unfortunately, are still held by these rules. Linda said, I wouldn't give my money to a company who had those rules. That is why I do not go to those stores. And it's nothing political, and it's anything more than I'm not going to support a company who squishes people's individuality like that. So Linda, I'm right there with you. All right, so we already talked about Hobby Lobby. We talked about Chick-fil-A. But now let's talk about a couple of companies again that are allowing it. And one of them is Target. Target has something in their employee handbook. And Target says, Target wants employees to look professional, but don't want to limit personal expression. All right. They want their employees to look good, but they're not going to limit their personal expression, just like I just said more companies should do. It says tattoos are okay as long as they're not offensive. All right. So now there's just so much we can talk about. So now we are at that crossroads where it's like, who dictates offensive and art? All right. I know I personally have my own not moral code, but I know what I find offensive and what I don't find offensive. For example, I saw on TikTok, I think it was, I saw somebody who had a pinup girl tattoo. Now, I think pinup girl tattoos are beautiful. They're very reminiscent of like World War II. You know what? Done correctly, they are beautiful. All right. So you have a tattoo. That's not offensive. Then I saw another tattoo on TikTok, and it was a pinup girl, but she was in a compromising position where it was offensive to me as a woman to see that image as that, with that woman depicted like that. Do you get where I'm going? Pinup girl, great. Beautiful, beautiful work. Pinup girl, cringy. And that is my opinion. I thought the second one was offensive. I thought the first one was beautiful art. So it gets to the point where if you're out there and you're going to go get a tattoo and it's going to be a visible tattoo and you're thinking about your future in your job, we all know basically what's offensive and what's not. I mean, showing women in certain lights, that is not, that is offensive. Just, I don't think that that's a tattoo that should be on your forearm. I mean, and I'm just going to say it. I mean, I don't want to be in line, turn around and see this image and be like, wow, I don't want to see that. But I am not that type of person to be like, you need to cover that up, or you shouldn't have done that, or you should do this, or you should do that. I mean, I can't sit there and be fully covered with my tattoos and then judge somebody else's. So it's like the whole freedom of speech kind of thing. And so this particular topic is a very difficult topic to talk about because, again, what one person might find as art, another person could find offensive. Where do you draw the line? Who's the tattoo police? So, again, just for the subject of today's Tattoo Tuesday, if you're out there and you are getting a tattoo that is borderline like, I don't know about this one, put it someplace where it's not going to affect your job in the future, because somebody, the hiring manager, could look at your tattoo and be like, that's offensive. I don't like that. No. So again, it's a subject that is way bigger than I am. I just wanted to bring up that whole, like, again, this subject is so gray. There is no direct answer to, does a tattoo affect your job? Linda says, my friend works in an older person's care home and they all love her tattoos and piercings. She says it's the relatives that judge her. I believe it. You know what? And truthfully, I do. People are probably looking at her like, how dare you take care of my mother with those kind of tattoos? And I actually have sometimes like little old ladies, like 80 years old, they'll stop me and they'll be, excuse me. And I'll be like, yeah. And they'll be like, I like your tattoos. And I'm like, oh, thank you. You are so sweet. You know what? So a lot of times we have a tendency to like lump older people all into one category. And while I don't think we should lump anybody into any category, I think that we just need to know that individuals either like tattoos or individuals don't like tattoos. So now the last company I want to talk about is Walmart. Say what you want to about Walmart, but I walked into Walmart the other day. I was going to go grab something and I walked by the cashier and man, she made me look like I just started my tattoo journey. That girl did not have 1 ounce of skin that was not tattooed, including her face. And I was like, good for you. Good for you and good for you, Walmart. You know what? There's a whole lot I mean, I've never been a huge Walmart fan, but I'm going to tell you right now, if they are going to be like, yeah, you know what, we're going to accept you for your individuality and you can sit here and you can work and you can talk to the public and you can be a cashier and you can do this with absolutely no skin showing, kudos to you. You know what? I will applaud you and thank you. All right, Claire says, my granddad had a beautiful naked lady on his arm. He was in the Second World War too. See, and that's just the thing. It's like, and here's the thing, and about that, is a woman's body is not offensive. But if you have her in a situation, and I don't want to be too graphic because you know what? I don't want to be graphic, but it was in a situation where it was derogatory to women. And it wasn't necessarily that it was a naked woman. It was depicting what was going on. So that in itself, again, is like, I wouldn't find somebody who had a beautiful portrait of a naked woman on his arm as offensive at all. But being that woman was being portrayed and put into this situation, it was the message behind the tattoo that I felt was offensive, if that makes any sense. If I am explaining myself well enough without getting again into, to describing this tattoo too much. Yeah, it was tasteful. Then yeah, you see, and that's just the whole thing. And to me, it's like, man, you're in World War II. You can have any tattoo you want on your arm. And it's so weird how, again, like the whole ideology of like offensive and not offensive. I mean, I could have turned around if that person had been standing there and looked at his arm, he could 100% take offense to it because to him, maybe he thought it was beautiful art. And I, again, am not the tattoo police, but I can only speak on my own experiences and my own thoughts and my own vision of how I think that women should be depicted, how women should be portrayed in society. We shouldn't be, we're not a joke, and we're not just an object. We are an actual fierce person who needs to be respected. Dee says, I only have 4, but plan more. It's always about the money. Yeah, you and me both. Remember, I no longer have my corporate job. So for me, it's like if I'm going to get a tattoo, I have to save up for it these days. All right, so let's get to some tattoo comments because we have been talking now for a while, and I really want to get to these comments because I get all sorts of comments all across the board. So let's see here. The Sleeved Nana says, for sure heard, how's that going to look when you're 80? It says, when I'm 80, I'm sure there will be other things more concerning or I will still be getting tatted up. Absolutely. And that's the funny thing is that when people are like, oh, you're going to regret your tattoos when you're 80. I'm like, who says I'm stopping? You know what? I'm not stopping when I'm 80. I am still going to be going. If I'm like on my 80th birthday, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I want to get my butt tattooed. I'm going to go do it. It's my body and I have absolutely every right to do with it whatever I want. And if I want to color on it for the rest of my life, that's absolutely 100% what I am going to do. All right. So Woods Spirit 98 thought it was absolutely necessary to take time out of their day to say tattoos are ugly. And again, this goes back to my stating that I am 100% okay with that opinion because I 100% never want to be friends with Wood Spirit 98. You know what? We're just not going to mesh, and that is perfectly okay because I personally think they're beautiful. All right. Let's see here. Sterling Low 7615 says, Shin was my worst by far. It's still healing and hurts to walk, but I love it. You know, truthfully, I don't think shin tattoos hurt as bad as a calf tattoo. I'm going to tell you right now, as far as pain level goes, I think my calf was probably the worst. I did not like it. I did not like how I had to lay on my stomach. I did not like the feeling. I did not like the fact that my leg twitched all over the place. The healing was hard. So for me, I'll take a shin tattoo any day. The calf, I am so glad I got that out of the way because I would not want to do that again. Linda said, it will look cool whatever age you are. Yeah, and that's just the whole thing. It's like, I don't know why these people think like, you know what, like I'm going to change in 10 years or 5 years or however many years. I'm still going to be doing me exactly how I'm doing it now. Let's see here. Okay, what a doll's life. This was on the one video I did showing how to apply Sanoderm. Says, I have 20 tats. Never used it, never needed it. Well, again, you know what? Just like the tattoo experience and just like a lot of things in life, your tattoo, whatever you want to put on your body, wherever you want to put on your body, and however you want to heal it is your choice. I am not telling you how to heal it, what to get, or where to put it. I am simply giving you information and some wisdom from a gal who is almost 60 years old on my experience with tattoos. So, you know what? What's a doll's life? You do you, and with your 20 tattoos, you do whatever you want to do. All right, Julia Rod 2154 says, I'm doing too much. And again, you know what? It's just me. My tattoo, my body. I'm going to heal my tattoos the way I want. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the older I get, I won't say difficult it is to heal a tattoo, but it is definitely different. It takes a little bit longer, so I'm a little bit more careful with my tattoos. And if applying a second skin helps me cover my tattoo to heal it, I'm going to do it all day long. I am going to do whatever I can to heal my tattoo in the best way possible to give it the best chance for its longevity because I'm in this game for the long run. You know what? I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure my tattoos stay nice as long as possible. Okay, Mary Thursby 4291 had a question. This is a legitimate question. It says, I have a question. I'm 65 and bruise easily. Does that affect a tattoo? And while I don't have that specific issue, my issue is that the older I get, the more I bleed. I seem to bleed more. You know, it's just the way it is. And so, but my thinking on this one, and if you're a tattoo artist, you can jump in and you can say something more. But to me, a bruising is temporary. And a tattoo, you might get bruised, but it should heal. And there's a big difference between bruising and having your tattoo bleed. And when I say your tattoo bleed, that's where the ink doesn't stay where it's put. When you have really thin skin or damaged skin, when your tattooist or tattoo artist goes in to apply the ink, it spreads out and it gives it a bruising look. So there's a big difference between your tattoo bleeding and the bruising. I'm under the impression that the bruising will go away, but Lauren says, I bruise easily, but never bruise during a tattoo. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that information. Lauren says to not worry about it. I'm not going to put Lauren's like, hey, don't say that. But Lauren's personal experience is that she doesn't have it affect her tattoo. Linda says, how do you deal with tattoos when skin gets crepey? You know, same way I deal with my skin with or without tattoos. You know, I have noticed here lately that my skin is getting a little bit crepey. I mean, there are some situations on my body. So what I have done is I have completely upped my water intake. I am drinking way more water than I was. And that whole slugging thing I do with Vaseline, I am slugging my body. I am at night, I am like a seal. I literally could squeeze through anything because I am Vaseline from head to toe. I'm like, and I'm like, bloop, bloop, bloop. I'm sliding off of things. But I am giving my skin the best opportunity to stay hydrated and healthy as much as I can. So if my skin gets crepey, if my skin starts to sag, I'm going to love it just as much. And that's just the whole thing. It's like my aging, I take it as an honor to age, not a bad thing. Let's see here. I look like I get beat up, big yellow bruises, but it does go away. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I think we will look better longer because we're always moisturizing. Absolutely. And I'm telling you right now, I have my monthly facial on Saturday, and I cannot wait to get in to see and to talk to her to see how my pores are, to see how my skin is, because I've been doing that whole Vaseline at night now for a couple of weeks, and I really like it, but I just want to make sure that, again, I know it's going to be okay, but I really want her opinion. Is my tattoo supposed to look like it's fading during the peeling process? Yes. And the thing is like that skin that's coming off, the skin that's peeling, I mean, once that's off, that should be your final layer. But here's the thing is if your tattoo is not as vibrant as you want it, go back in and have it touched up. I have done that before. With this hand right here, I bled a lot with this hand, and it swelled really bad. And once it was completely healed, I did notice that there were some areas that were a little bit lighter than other areas. And then also too, some areas that looked like it got skipped. So I just went back in and Brian just added more color, and I absolutely love it. So, and there's a big difference between like how it looks when it's peeling as to how it looks when it's completely healed. So again, comedian Rekwan, absolutely do. I would start adding the moisturizer right now. Make sure it stays moisturized all day. Once you're completely peeled and all of that, if it's not as bright as you want it, give it a couple of months, make sure your skin is completely healed, and then go back in and have it touched up and have some more color put in. There's nothing wrong with having your tattoo touched up. Sometimes I think that we get so hung up on like, if it's not perfect the first time, my tattoo's ruined. No, we can do touch-ups. We can do all sorts of different things. Claire says, I got even told I was too old to have a buzz cut. Yeah, you know what? That's just the thing, Claire. People that even have that comment, it doesn't, regardless as to what you have, they're going to tell you you're too old. I have a friend, a beautiful friend who's a social media influencer who I'm going to have on here one day, who has really long, beautiful flowing hair. She's like a year older than I am. And she gets told all the time that her hair is too long. So it gets to the point, Claire, where no matter what we do when we are at the age we are, people are going to tell us we're too old for it. I mean, you're too old for long hair. You're too old for short hair. You're too old for tattoos. You're too old to wear red lipstick. You're too old to wear that. I mean, we get told that over and over and over again. And it is up to us to stop listening to that rhetoric and start listening to ourselves. Yeah, and you're 57. I'm 58, almost 59 years old. And trust me, people come at me all the time for my hair. They call me names. They try to do this and they try to tell me that, I ruined my looks. And they can talk all they want. It doesn't matter. Their opinions mean jack diddly squat to me because I know who I am and how I want to look. And this is exactly how I want to look. Who cares what they think? Absolutely. I 100% agree with that one, Dee. Shelter Dog Strong says, my hands healed horribly, 2 hard spots with so many movement. Yeah, no, hands are tough to heal. I'm telling you that right now. But if you, I mean, I totally recommend, since hands are totally hard to heal, if it didn't heal in the way that you like it, I would get it touched up. But just know, if you get your hands tattooed, it is a hard process to heal because, again, we use our hands so much, and this is not a and this is not a plug for Mad Rabbit, but their soothing gel is absolutely a must for hand tattoos. And Linda says, what are older people supposed to wear? A shroud? No, you know what they're supposed to wear? Older people are supposed to wear head to toe beige. We're not to make direct eye contact, and we're only supposed to speak when spoken to. All right. Society puts us on, thank you, Claudia. Society puts us on this short list. Like, okay, you can go out to play only if you blend in, don't laugh in public because God only knows we don't want anybody looking your direction. And I have to tell you, and the whole reason that I started this entire platform and the reason that I come on here every single day is because I didn't get sober until I was in my 50s. So all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this is really cool. This is called life. I want to experience life. I want to be happy. I want to do things. I want to be myself. I want to get tattoos, buzz my hair, wear red lips. I want to do all these things. And over and over and over again, I was told, no, you're too old. You shouldn't wear that. Why are you wearing this? Why are you saying this? Why are you doing that? And I'm like, not on my watch. I spent way too long with addiction, and I just went through the biggest fight of my life to get sober. And you are not going to tell me I can't do what I want to do, because I just didn't fight that fight in order to be told to hush up. So if you don't think that I don't have passion and fire over this subject, that is exactly why I do. And that is exactly why I come on here daily, just to be that voice that's standing up and being like, enough is enough. All right. I'm not going to do it anymore. You can, one of our subjects for later this week is the simple fact that I am my age and I wear Doc Martens, because you'd be surprised how many comments I get about that. And it gets to the point where Claire says, I'm a recovering alcoholic. Well, congratulations and welcome. And I look at it as my superhero power, because getting through that, I am like, yeah, you know what, jerk who tells me that I'm too old for tattoos, you got nothing on me, because I just fight my fight on a daily basis. Claire says, been clean for 8 years. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm like 8 or 9 years. I totally forget how long I've been sober, because for me, there's no going back. There's only going forward. And it's either sober Lonni or not sober Lonni, and not sober Lonni is gone. All right. Linda says, you're such a good role model for older women. Well, thank you. You know what? I am, I've always been very outspoken, and I've always never been afraid to speak up. So this fits right into my wheelhouse. Dee says, I have pink Doc Martens and I don't care who doesn't like them. Same goes as for your Birkenstocks. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love it, love it, love it. Tasha Ray says, love your style. Thank you so, so much. Claire says, I'm only just living. Absolutely. Because you know what, Claire, and I totally get it, and I can absolutely relate. But when you are in the depths of addiction, and that is, you are just fighting for survival, that once you become sober, that's when you start living. And that's, again, why I am so adamant about everything that I talk about, because had I have not fought this ideology, had I have not fought for who I am today, I would be a very muted version of myself. And I didn't want to do that. And I just, it scares me to think of what it would be like if I had have listened. And I know that there's a lot of people out there, again, of all ages, of all genders, of all walks of life, who hear these things on a daily basis. And everything I say can be translated to any person in any part of their lives. It's all a matter of standing up for who you are as an individual while respecting others for their own journey. I have never once clapped back at a lady over 50 who tells me that I'm ridiculous, because I'm not going to be that same hateful person. So I can find my strength within myself without having to tear her down. And to me, I think if more people did that, it would be great. EPD0126 says, where do you live? Where I live, you would be considered cool and stylish, not an outlaw or different. I am in Southern California, and I absolutely am very privileged to live in Southern California, and I live in a county that is very tattoo friendly. Now, I'm not too far away from Orange County, and if any of you have ever watched any of those Real Housewives of Orange County or Selling Sunset or anything like that, what type of person. They're perfect. They're not all tatted up, and they're this. And I go into Orange County and people are like, and I'm like, yeah, get over your bad self. You know what? I'm not going to be feeling bad about the way I feel. So even though I'm in Southern California and we are very, what's the word I'm saying? We are very understanding of each other's journeys. I live very close to a couple of counties that are not. They're very conservative. So even depending on where I am and where I'm going, I can run into some people who give me a weird look. Now, mind you, again, I am that person where if somebody is staring at me, I will stop and be like, I can see you looking at me. Why are you looking at me? I can see this. I see you staring at me. Why are you staring at me? And they're always like, I'm like, what? Did you think I was just going to walk away? I mean, what is it about my energy? What is it about the way I carry myself that makes you think like I am just going to walk away? So I always like to do that because I always want them to think twice about doing that to somebody else. So I am that person. And my boys are always like, I cannot believe you have not gotten into a fight. I'm like, I know, me too. So, but I do know how to run. I'm a fast runner. I just be like, I start conversations with people like that. You know what, Dee? Then you are a better person than I am because I don't have the time of the day. You know what? If you want to look at me and you want to be, okay, now here's the thing. If you want to look at me and you want to be like, wow, your tattoos are really pretty. Or if you look at me in a manner that isn't judgmental, I am fine with that. Now, mind you, there is a difference. I'm talking about those people who are looking at you and are just straight out judging you, because I am very keen on picking up on people's energies. And when you get looked at like this, that is not appreciation. So that is the one. Those are the people that I'm like, yeah, can I help you? What do you got? What do you got, sister? What are you going to tell me that I haven't already heard before? So again, that's me. Linda says, you glow from within. Oh, thank you. It has nothing to do with my new blush that I just put on. All right, everybody, I got to skedaddle. Indy actually has a vet appointment this morning. She needs to go get her allergy shot. So my 80-pound pit bull, who looks like a furry tank, has allergies, and I have to make sure I stay up on her allergy shots. So that way, in fact, she's right here right now. That way she doesn't get really bad itchies. And also too, I found one of her ears. She has a little red ear, so I have to make sure she doesn't have a little ear infection too. So I'm going to ski-daddle-daddle. And then tomorrow I think we're going to switch up things just a little bit. And I had one of my followers on TikTok asked me to do a subject on cleaning out your closet and how to organize it. And so I'm going to come up with some tips and some ideas on how to clean out your closet, how to organize your closet, so that way it feels fresh and you can walk into your closet, feel great about yourself, and kind of just get it ready for the new season and all of that stuff, because she has a tendency she has too many things and it's cluttered and she's overwhelmed. So tomorrow's main subject is going to be about cleaning out your closet and all the tips that I can come up with. And I'm going to go film down at the Free People store after that in San Diego. So I'm super excited to see that. That's supposed to be the biggest Free People store in the area. So I'm excited for that. All right, I got to go. Indy needs to go see her vet. Thank you, each and every single one of you. You were great. I love the participation. Again, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Love, love, love.